How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting, and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. So, last week we navigated past our first choice, and we're officially in, I'm guessing, tree mode, essentially, where all the branches are coming off, and we're gonna end up going on one track or the common route, whatever that ends up being. So, it's all free game from here, folks. Let's see how it happens. I'm just gonna follow my heart. I've got my preconceived notions, but I also am gonna be facing like the choices of the game, and it might not make it super clear which is which or what will lead to what. So we're gonna just have to see how this all plays out. Oh man, I'm excited. Yeah. So first part, I'm guessing this is an Amane because this is it kind of was leaning a lot on her, but who really knows? Because ultimately, while we interacted with her a lot, we're off on a mission. Like, we actually got called into work. Some kind of, military-like activity or mercenary activity. Sounded like we're doing support, or, like, it sounded to me like a sniper position / Overwatch position rather than someone who's actually, like, on, like, the team. It's more about, like, information gathering and support role. So, yeah. I think it sounds pretty solid. So anyway, we're back here in the evening time, and I think we're going to be hearing about the girls kind of hanging out and asking, like, wondering where Yuuji went. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Anyway, let's jump into it, shall we? There's not really much else to say, so let's just go. So her name is Michiru Saba Mitch, or something of the sort. So they're talking about nicknames for her.
それならいっそミッツィとかどうなのよさ。なんかこう口んとこがバッテンな感じでキュートなのよ。
ね、さっきから黙って聞いてれば何好き勝手なこと言ってるわけ？暇つぶしで人の名前をいじらないでくれる？だ
ってチルチルって呼ぶなーって言ったのあんただよ。
パンク
だからって変なあだ名を新しくつけろって言った覚えはないわよ。つうかあんたって言う
な。めんどくせえ女だな。じゃあなんて呼べばいいのよさ。
私にはちゃんと松島みちるって名前があんでしょが。変なあだ名とかいらないから。
じゃあみちる？
呼び捨てにすんな。私の方が年上だっての。
みちるちゃん？
ちゃん付けすんな。子供扱いじゃないのよ。
みちるさ
ん？あんたが言うとインギン無礼。なんかムカつく。
ではみちる様ということで。
そ
I
れは。
mean, isn't that the right one?
いや待て。何も名前をもじるだけがあだ名じゃないのよ。
No.
例えばジージャンデカはいつもジージャンを着ているからそうあだ名されるのであって。
だから無理にあだ名をつける必要がどこにあるの？よし、
今日からお前はパツキンデカだ。
Detective Blondie.
見たまんまだし、つかデカじゃないし。
でもその場合髪が伸びて地毛の色が出始める頃には通用しなくなってしまうような。
That's fair.
プリンデカというのはいかがですか？もしくはもっと安っぽさを強調して
Oh, that's so mean.
もうだからデカじゃないって言ってんでしょが。つうかプリン言うな。
だんだんうざくなってきたのよさ。
そりゃ私のセリフだ。
もう鬱陶しいのよさ。じゃあチルチルはイカフライに何をかけて食べる？
I don't know. Is there a way to do it, or is she talking about like a whole squid? Because I don't know. I've never had a whole squid, so I don't know how to answer that.
醤油かな？
I mean, that sounds fair.
じゃあもうイカ醤油でいいよね。
Soy squid.
今日からチルチルはイカ醤油ってことでよろしく。
もう急にめんどくさくなって適当なあだ名つけるな。
Michiru, if you just wouldn't react like you are, it wouldn't be a game. The game is you.
まあ落ち着いてくださいイカ醤油様。
落ち着けるか。 それととりあえず呼んでみるのやめて。
もううるさいな。何大声出してんのよ。近所迷惑でしょ。
The boys, the neighbors being you and Sachi.
チルチルの新しいあだ名を考えてたのよさ。なんだっけ？
イカ醤油よ、イカ醤油。いうか私はイカ醤油じゃないわよ。
どっちなのよ。
鮮魚超人マグロマンに出てくる怪人みたいで素敵じゃないですか、イカ醤油。
It really actually does. It would be a perfect fit for that show.
他人事だと思って気軽に肯定してくれてんじゃないわよ。いい、これは立派ないじめよ。
ちなみにアマネはイカフライに何をかけて食べる？
そうね。醤油かな。
なんとしまったのよさ。ここにも怪人イカ醤油がもう一匹。
What now? What are we supposed to do?
チルチル、残念だけどイカ醤油は諦めてほしいのよ。
Give up the title. You are no longer worthy.
全然残念じゃないから。心の底からホッとしてるから。
ちなみに私はソース派です。
What, are you an alien? That doesn't sound right at all. Well, I guess Japanese barbecue sauce is pretty different, so maybe it tastes better, but like American barbecue sauce on squid sounds awful. Ugh. No. I guess the one thing I would throw in that would be different is I tend to like it with sweeter sauces, like duck sauce or something along those lines. But again, I'm guessing soy sauce is pretty much the perfect one. Okay, I also want to say, like, there was something that just, like, it occurred to me, but then I got distracted with the barbecue sauce line. Michiru. Shoot. I don't know. We'll move on. I thought I had something, but, like, the barbecue sauce just obliterated that thought.
別に聞いてないから。
よし、今日から貴様はイカソースだ。
Sauce squid.
ほら見なさい。余計なこと言うから頭の悪い子に変なあだ名つけられた。
Yeah, but you realize that she was calling her a maggot before. I think this is an upgrade from that.
そして私はイカマヨ。
Ugh! No!
あんたイカフライにマヨネーズつけて食べるの？
That's... Oh, gosh.
だってほら、おつまみとかのサキイカにはマヨネーズつけて食べるんだし、変じゃないよね。
The proportions are what different. Like, if you're having, like, chopped up little bits of squid with a little bit of mayo, that's, like, maybe... that it's not really better, but, like, that I'm imagining is, like, with other things, like vegetables or something, and then it starts feeling like, okay, because you're balancing that, like, cloying, like, sweet and sour... Like, I don't know. Like, I was just saying I like it with sweet things like duck sauce, but, like, that's a whole nother level.
そう言われると、どうなんだろう。
I remember now. I was saying Michiru, the one thing that Michiru has, like, I don't think she's an idiot. I really don't. I think she's incredibly susceptible to being gaslit. I imagine it might be because she seems very, very... She seems obsessed with the way others perceive her. Again, I see a lot of myself there, because when I was in high school, I was very much the same way. It manifested in a different way, obviously. I didn't dye my hair and try and pretend to be a tsundere or anything, but, like, she seems, like, really, really, like, self-conscious to the point where she tries to control the narrative about herself. And it's like, not even that she minds, like, nicknames or anything. She just wants to feel like she's in control of the way people perceive her. Even if she's seen as I think she's even decided that being seen as an idiot is okay because it's preferable to whatever she's afraid that they're going to see when they look at her. And that was the same thing for me, but I don't know how literal it will be for her, but for me, I just was terrified that if people saw who I really was, like the core me, the actual me, if I were just 100% honest and being myself, that I would just be boring, uninteresting, and just not worth any time. Like, I had no sense of self-value, and thus I projected that outward in a way of trying to control the narrative. But my way of controlling the narrative was just being really nice, listening to everybody, and kind of trying to make everyone happy all the time. So I was a people pleaser. It took a long time for me to shake that. And even now, I still kind of have those tendencies, but I also kind of have them reined in a lot more, where I'm more willing to do things like this channel, where it's not like I'm getting a ton of praise for making this content. Like, it's not like I'm being super successful or chasing algorithms and trying to actually be, like, career-driven, per se. I'd love to make this a career, but the thing is, like, if it's going to become something that becomes, a full-time, like, gig, like, something that can actually, like, fund a very basic lifestyle for myself and go beyond that hobby stage, it's going to be on my terms because I know what I want to make. I know the content I'm happy to showcase, and I'm going to do it my way, even if it's not optimal. And that's the thing, that's the difference. It's like, I don't mind pleasing people, I don't mind talking to people and trying to make people happy and enjoy being in my presence, but I also don't hinge my self-worth on that. But old me and Michiru, I think, do. So Michiru tries to control the narrative, but because of that, she can be gaslit, because if you just say something with enough conviction to her, she starts to incorporate it into this facade, wondering if she'll be accepted if she actually goes along with it, even if it makes no sense. And that's why she comes across as an idiot, is because all the girls around her have kind of figured out that you can gaslight her and that she'll kind of accidentally roll into it. And I think that the motivation isn't that she's dumb. I'm guessing that the real motivation is that she's just simply trying to make sure that everyone likes and has a certain, like, picture of who she is in their mind, and is hiding what she really thinks and feels about herself, because there's something very, very tender there. If it's anything like it was for me, like, it's very, like, you're terrified because if someone sees the real you and turns away or says, like, I don't like you, or like, how can you stand being you? Like, those types of comments directed from somebody who really is seeing the true you could literally make you want to die. Like, it could be super, super, super destructive, because like that's just the way it is. That's the way I was. Like, I was so scared of facing the reality of someone, like, not liking or not accepting the real me. I buried myself just to make sure it could never actually happen, because then if someone didn't like me, I could always say, well, you know, I tried to make them happy and they just didn't like that. So, you know, they like essentially would, like, let a shield be there.
多数決でも取ってみる？
いや、何の意味があって。
お？ちょいとそこ行くお嬢さん、意見を聞かせておくれでないかい？
Little lady, that's rich. Hey!
そうそう、そこでしかと決め込んでるあなたよ。そこで私に気安く話しかけないでくれないかしら？友達だと思われたら迷惑だわって背中で語ってるあなたに言ってるのよ。
And see, there's Makina. Makina can totally tell. She just doesn't care. She literally doesn't care, which makes her super, like, kind of tough to work with socially, because she'll either just not pay attention to, or she'll acknowledge but then just dismiss, you know, social equity, or not equity, it's a similar word, but not equity. Etiquette, there you go, etiquette. She just takes etiquette, throws it out the window, says, no, I'm just gonna do what I want, and it makes it tough to socialize with her, because it feels like you're either on her terms or you're fighting her, and it can be exhausting.
せっかくスルーしようと思っていたのに、一番厄介なのに見つかって声かけられたって感じで大きく肩を落としているあなた、そこのあなた。え、なんで怒ってんの？
You!
胸に手を当ててよく考えてごらんなさい。
知るか。そんなことよりユミちゃん、
Yep, there you go, see?
ユミちゃんはイカフライに何をかけて食べるのよ。
さすがに堪忍袋の尾が切れそうだわ。
ごめん、言ってること難しすぎて。イカフライってあるでしょ。こうイカを輪切りにして衣をつけて揚げたやつ。
I remember I'd eat calamari, and I always thought it was kind of interesting how they got the tentacles to go into rings. I was like, and then it later occurred to me, oh no, that's just literally the squid sliced up. Like, you could have calamari that is the tentacles, but there's also the body.
知っているわよ、それぐらい。
だよな。でだ、それに何つけて食べるって話なんだけど。
Makina, you are a dangerous social creature.
残念ながら、そんな庶民の食べ物なんて私は食べたことないわ。
Really?
え、 マジで？
That's actually impressive, almost. Especially in Japan.
本当よ。だから私に変なあだ名をつけようとしても無駄な。
よし、今日から貴様はノーフライだ。
Nega squid!
この子、人の話をまるで聞いていない。
確かに榊さんってノンフライって感じするよね。
Nega squid sounds like a villain on a Super Sendai or like Power Rangers show.
ちょっとあまね、笑ってないであんたからも言ってよ。人に変なあだ名つけるなって。
いいじゃない、別に楽しくて。
全然楽しくないわよ。だいたいあの子のつけるあだ名って悪意があるのよ。
おい、人聞きの悪いことを言うなよ、パツキン。後ろからやっちまうぞ、てめえ。
Where does she get the... And I like, that's the best part about Makina. Because she literally has no care, she has no idea about the irony about how whenever the script flips against her, she gets genuinely upset when people treat her the way she treats other people.
つーか、最近ますます言葉遣い悪くなってきてるし。
That's Yuuji. Absolutely.
これは明らかに風見さんの悪影響ですよね。
私には自分がないから人の真似をして生きていくしかないのよさ。
Oh, that's interesting.
だから
I don't
仕
have
方
a
がない
self.
のよ。
That actually would make sense too. She has a lot. She never really got good framework for developing her own sense of self. So I wonder if she literally is just kind of a tabula rasa. One of my favorite sayings, yeah, but it's the clean slate. The idea that it was a philosophy that was, I think, Greek. The idea that everyone's born as a perfect slate, and then who we are is described based on the events and the events we see, the words we hear, and the things that take place in our lives. So we start out all kind of like the same blank slate, and then we slowly develop over time based on the combination of unique events, which is very much a strong influence on a person's character, but there are other factors as well. But she seems almost like a literal one, where she's just like, I just absorb and like kind of like interpret and then spit back out what I see, which might be why she makes so many like odd references.
何ちょっと悲しいこと言ってごまかそうとしてんのよ。そんなんで騙されないわよ。ちょっとこっち来なさいな。
Uh-oh.
痛い、引っ張らないで、脱げちゃうの。
あんたまたブラしてない。
Oh,
この子はもう。
great.
見られて減るもんじゃないのよさ。
When you got mine, mine, might as well flaunt it. Nope.
私、もう部屋に戻っても構わないかしら。
まだいいじゃない。どうせ部屋に帰ってもネットでエロ画像を集めるぐらいしかやることないんでしょ。
Uh-oh.
勝手な憶測で私を語らないでいただけないかしら。
I mean, it's a real safe bet. Well, actually, I don't know. For guys especially, it's like, I mean, it's more shocking if it's not a part of your life at this age. But at the same time, I'm guessing that's pretty much the same for girls. But I've never had that confirmed, and I'm not gonna ask.
はいはい、ごめんよ。そうカリカリしないでよ。
Shut
ノンフライなんでしょ。
you.
その変なあだ名もやめて。
へいへい。っていうかさ、そもそもなんでイカフライなの？
それは多分マキちゃんが食べたいだけなのではないかと。
That is how these usually start.
そうなの？でもマキナ、今日は酢豚がいいって言ってたじゃない。
おい、酢豚がいいのよ。でもイカフライも嫌いじゃないのよさ。
Oh boy.
イカフライね。なんでか知らないけど、あんたってば歯ごたえのある食べ物。
硬い方が食べ物としての満足度が上。
I don't agree with that at all, but okay, you do you. You do you, Makina.
まあわかんないでもないけどね。じゃあイカフライも作ろうか。肉より魚介の方がユージも喜ぶだろうし。
それがいいのよ。
Wait. Yuuji would probably be happier with seafood than meat as well. I'm guessing it's meaning like meat as in like, you know, turf rather than surf, but it's weird saying them to differentiate fish and meat. That only kind of counts if you're like trying to look at things as a, oh, what's it called? It's not vegetarian, pescatarian. But that's again, they're not saying to say that fish aren't meat. It's just saying that seafood are lighter, tend to be a bit more on the healthy track. So, like avoiding red meat and like fowls.
あれ、そういえばお兄ちゃんは？
Wait, shouldn't? I thought, okay, I guess we did ask her maybe not to call us that, so I just thought she'd be calling us Papa, and I was wondering when that shoe was gonna drop, but maybe it doesn't unless you're on her route.
あ、ユージならバイトだって。さっき JB って人と出かけてったよ。
バイト？
Mm-hmm.
別に興味なんかないけど、あいつ何のバイトしてんのよ。
Yeah, we're just gonna pretend the first half of that sentence doesn't exist.
掃除屋さんなのかな。清掃業者の作業服みたいなの着てたし。
ああ、そういえばそんなこと言ってたわね。
風見さん、両親を早くに亡くしたみたいですし、学費とかも自分で働いて捻出していらっしゃるのでしょうか。
彼は書類上海外からの招待入学枠で在籍しているから、学費の8割は免除されているはずよ。
So that leaves 20% he probably has to cover.
在学費は免除でも日々の生活費とかは自費ですよね。
That actually, and it's funny thing is I'd be here like, oh, you know what, maybe that's why he eats like he does. Maybe it's like, he just kind of shrugs it off, but what if he's eating like that because he literally doesn't have the money to do much else?
そこまでは知らないわ。
JB とかっていううさんくさい金髪女が面倒を見てるんじゃないの？
I mean, not if they're coworkers, though.
それ言ったら後染め偽金髪のチルチルの方がうさんくさいけどな。
あんたね、伸ばすわよ。
何をだよ。
Why?
そもそもハルデラさんって何者なんでしょう。
なんだっけ、ユージのものすごく遠い親戚だっけ？
That seems far-fetched.
あいつのお姉さんの妹？
それって結局姉なのでは？
お姉さんの友達じゃなかったかしら。
See, friend of his elder sister, but what he ultimately said is like she was like a friend of his master, who was the one who instructed him, who I'm guessing was almost like a pseudo-parent, so it's like a friend of a stepmother.
それって他人じゃん。他人がなんであいつの面倒を見てるのよ。
Co-workers, friends, there's plenty of reasons.
私に聞かれても知るわけないじゃない。
でも挨拶をすると、いつもうちのユージがお世話になってますっていかにも身内然とした受け答えをなさいますし、血縁はなくとも深い関係が推測されますよね。
Yeah, but like that could be explained by a close friendship, especially a familiar friendship.
サチ、あんたあの女と話したことあるの？
ああ、はい。以前校門の前を掃除していた時にお見かけしました。何やら校門から内部を監視するような不審な人物を発見したので、速やかに排除しようと竹ぼうきを片手に声をかけましたら、ハルデラさんでした。
I like how Sachi took it upon herself to be the bouncer of the school.
ねえ、さっちゃん、不審者を見かけたらとりあえず声をかけるってのやめなよ。本当に不審者だったらどうする気？
不審な行動をしていると声をかけてくる者がいるという事実が重要なのですよ。犯罪を制圧するのが目的ではなく、未然に抑止するための警戒行動です。
Risky, but kind of like a car alarm. Oftentimes, the sudden the sudden realization of being caught and causing a ruckus, even if it's not actually a ruckus, can be a deterrent.
言いたいことはわかるけどさ、実際に悪意を持った男に襲われたら、あんたなんか障子紙破るみたいにあっさり抑え込まれちゃうわよ。
でも確かになんか怪しいのよね、あの女。私もこの前駅前で偶然に会って少し話をしたんだけど。
Alright, so like that line went on a lot longer than she was saying, but yeah, okay, so it's interesting that like I wonder if JB has like kind of secretly tried to get a good feel for each of the girls here on campus, because it does seem like in isolated incidents she's ended up like having conversations with every one of them.
でもそんな悪い人じゃないのよ。この前ガムくれたのよさ。
Yeah.
あんたもあったの？っていうか、知らない人から物をもらっちゃダメっていつも言ってるでしょうが。
Yeah, it's sad because not only is Makina like the one person who would fall for the candy in the van trick, she's also probably the one who would be targeted out of everybody here because she'd fall for it.
だって全く知らん人じゃないし、それに営業の仕事でガムとかキャンディーはいつもいっぱい持ち歩いてるからって言ってたし。
But that doesn't sound like her. That sounds like she came prepared. Like she'd already figured out like what Makina was like and brought like essentially an offering.
営業の仕事？
ガムやキャンディーを配る営業というと製法レディとか？
でもユージは清掃員なんだよ。
確かにあの嘘くさい笑顔も営業スマイルと考えれば納得できるような。
It's interesting how much Michiru is really like nailing down. She's just like, I've got a feeling, and she's like sensing motives and stuff.
あんたね、全国の製法レディにぶっ飛ばされるわよ。
That does sound like a dangerous idea.
ですが1階の製法レディが使う営業者にしてはあの派手な車は失礼ながら税が過ぎるかと。
But that's a common thing. A lot of people who see themselves as great entrepreneurs like to seem to overcompensate by buying cars that are well beyond their actual means and paying the price heavily for it.
あの車っていくらぐらいするものなの？
だいたい1800万円ぐらいじゃないかしら。
Yep.
マジで？
That's a lot.
それに車は買った後も維持費がかかるしね。普段の足に使ってればタイヤなんて半年で丸坊主になっちゃうだろうし。
It makes sense that Amane
一回
and
交換す
Sachi.
ればうん十万は飛んでくよね。
It makes sense that Amane and Sachi would know. Sachi seems to come from real money, so she might have known people, including in her family, who might own that car, so she might know exactly how much it costs. And Amane would know about high-end vehicles that like the high on performance and like you know what do they call them, sports cars or supercars. So naturally, she would know, more likely from watching things like Top Gear.
あの女そんなにお金持ちなの？
外資系の保険会社と考えても腑には落ちないわね。
I do like how they're like poking holes into it though. Like they're kind of seeing like not everything quite matches up, but the thing is, I think it's legitimate enough that even under scrutiny, it kind of stands. Like it's not perfect and might make people pay too much attention at times, but I mean, there's like I've seen smaller businesses with like CEOs or owners that definitely live a very rich lifestyle, even if the business itself is relatively small.
やっぱりなんか怪しい。そもそも何人なの？
生真面目なドイツ人？
陽気なイタリア人では？
A merry Italian.
大雑把なアメリカ人なのよさ。間違いない。
Crude? I'll give you that. I also think that was my guess. I thought she was American.
なんで間違いないなんて言い切れるのよ？
だって挨拶の時ハウディって言ってた。今時あんな挨拶するの田舎のカウボーイか80年代に学生だったおばさんぐらいなのよ。
Uh-huh.
確かに謎だわ。
つーかさ、このままでいいわけ？
何が？
だってあの JB って女絶対にユージと
ただれた関係？
そうそれただれた関係ってやつじゃないの？
どうなんだろうね。
No, I don't know how you'd get that impression. I mean, maybe just because she's like very clearly a very attractive physically woman. So far, what I've seen of her, she's very unattractive in any other respect, but she's definitely got a bod. And then, you know, like you could say like Yuji's a young man, she's got an attractive body, and if she's willing and he's willing, it just would happen. But the thing is, like, he seems very, very disinterested in her if you see how he interacts with her.
いいの？放っておいて。あまね、あんたさ、あんなの相手に勝てるの？
勝つって何に？
だからあの女によ。まあ確かに若さとかおっぱいの大きさとかじゃ負けてないかもしれないけど、何しろ相手は金髪よ。
The opponent is a blonde. Okay, first of all, projecting much. Second of all, that means nothing. Blonde looks cute. So does every other, like, natural, and then, of course, in anime land, unnatural hair color.
つまりツンデレじゃない。きっと今頃あの
Oh
女、
no.
ユージの前でデレデレしてるわよ。
Oh, was that a really solid thing that the tsundere character was always the blonde? Like, I imagine that was part of the trope at one time. That's clearly not the case anymore. It tends to just be whoever, but interesting.
あのさ、みちる、その金髪が全員ツンデレって認識は間違っていると思うわよ。
違うの？
Yeah.
私に聞かないでよ。
とにかくこのままあの女に好きにさせておいていいのかって、私はそう言いたいのよ。
いいも悪いも別に私はユージの彼女とかそういうんじゃないし、ユージのお姉ちゃんになれればそれはそれで構わないっていうか。
Mm-hmm. Sure.
激甘よ。それってただの便利な飯炊き女じゃない。それで何が得られるわけ？
Well, why do you have to get anything out of it? You could just be friends. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm pretty sure that's not what Amane wants, but there's nothing wrong with just being friends.
自己満足かな。
Okay.
という弱腰。見損なったわよ、スオアマネ。あなたには本当にがっかりだわ。
What stakes do you have in this?
みちる、あんた何怒ってんのよ。
なんとなくですけれど、みちる様の言いたいこともわかります。
どういうこと？
うまく言えないんですけど、結局のところ、よく知らない女の人に風見さんを取られるのが単純に気に入らないんだと思います。
And she's already feeling like she's fighting all of you.
さっちゃんも言っちゃうの？なんだろうな、私にどうしろっての？まあいいか。さて、私も晩ご飯の用意しなきゃ。
私も。
ユミちゃん、ユミちゃん。
Oh no.
嫌な予感しかしないけれど、一応返事はしておくわ。何かしら？
ノンフライじゃあんまりだから、新しいあだ名考えてみた。
Oh no. You're gonna die, Makida. She's gonna get the knife out.
全然聞きたくないけど、一応言ってみなさい。
Why?
あ、
Oh, she kinda like that one.
は？
だからバー
なぜ？
バラ、もしくはイボンヌ。ね、どっちがいい？
Why?
逃げ遅れた。
Yeah, you probably should have. Alright, mission time? Is it mission time? I've been curious to see what this is gonna be. Aw. Why are you... Oh, they're waiting for him to come home. I was about to say, like, why are they in Yuji's room again? And I was like, no, they're waiting for him.
でっかいあくび。マキナ眠いの？
おい、ちょっとだけ眠い。お兄ちゃん遅いね。
仕事長引いてるのかもね。いつ帰るかわからないって言ってたし、あんたもう先に部屋に戻って寝たら？
あんまねえわ。
私はもう少しここで待つよ。やることもあるし。
やることって？
ユージの制服にアイロンかけなきゃ。
Why? I get that she's, like, kind of enamored with him, although she seems oddly self-deluded about that fact. It's weird, because, like, she always asked about, like, can I be your girlfriend? Can we be together? But then, if he ever did anything, she'd get really flustered. So, like, I think that was all kind of, like... just... I don't know. What's the term for that? It's like, it's just a straw man kind of a thing. Like, it wasn't, like, intentional. Like, it wasn't like she actually felt that way or was ready for that. She just kind of was saying it to just be her. She flaunts her body, but at the same time, she also gets shy when it comes to actual, like, intimacy. Like, for her, like, just seeing someone, like, nude isn't intimate in itself, which is very interesting because in Japan, that's very much not the case. It's like, even the implication of nudity is considered intimate, which is why it's always showcased in a lot of, like, romance-style anime scenes and all that stuff. But I kind of want to break this down for you because, like, I actually feel very similarly. I'm not sure when, but, like, I think when you're really young and, like, you're really, like, first kind of awakening to your urges, any type of stimulation is really titillating. But as you get older, as you get more experience, it really kind of shifted for me where it's like, if I were to walk in on somebody nude, and it, like, I mean, I'm in a committed relationship now, but, like, even before then, if I were to walk in on a girl nude, my response wouldn't be to, like, get super, like, flustered. I would mostly just want to make them uncomfortable. But, like, if you just get a casual glance of somebody, like, in a compromised position, and it wasn't intended, I actually don't find that all that arousing, I would say. It was an accident. And the thing is, we all have bodies, and bodies can be beautiful. They can also tend to more realistically be just kind of meh, because, you know, we're people. And perfection is very, very hard to achieve, and it's often, you know, edited to be perfection, so it's not even real, really. But, you know, we're people. And I don't think people should be ashamed of themselves. So in an odd way, like, I was frustrated at the game because I thought it was just doing, like, just heedless fan service, but I'm starting to think that Amane being so flippant with her clothing is less about intimacy. Because I think if Yuuji were to, like, suddenly step up to her, do, like, the wall brace, or, like, just, like, steal a kiss on her cheek, I think she would melt. Like, I think she would freak out. Which sounds weird when she's literally walking around topless around it. But at the same time, I think it's just because she views her body and other people's bodies as just that. It's just like, it's a birthday suit. It's just part of nature. It's just the way things are. For her, there's a very distinct line between, like, seeing somebody naked and having some kind of, like, intimate type of experience. And that's interesting because it seems so odd, but at the same time, there's a lot of logic to it, and it makes a lot of sense for me. It's kind of how I would be. Like, I would be embarrassed to walk around naked, so I would never do that. But if I were to walk in on somebody being naked, I wouldn't be shocking, or at least as shocking as I think it often is portrayed. And I think that's just because I think that there's a distinct line between happening to see somebody in a compromised position and them allowing you and willingly wanting to show you that they're in that compromised position. Like, there's a huge difference, and that difference makes that's where all that matters. That's where it really, like, makes sense. And that's why it's kind of funny, because it's like, sure, you can look at stuff online, you can, like some people do the creepy sneaking pictures and stuff, and they can kind of find that interesting, but, like, if anything, that's just can kind of end up being ultimately disgusting if it's unintended. Intention is what really matters, and that's what really makes a big difference, at least in my book. You're gonna pass out. No, you're not.
いいよ。もう10時になるし眠いでしょ。あとは任せておきなさい。
ごめんね、ハマネ。
いいって。一人で部屋まで戻れる？
平気。
There she goes.
さてとっとと終わらせちゃいますか。
She's really playing the dutiful wife right now, though. It's really kind of hammering that home. Same day, same time.
悪かったわね。こんな時間まで付き合わせて。
Par for the course. Nothing to feel guilty about.
部屋に女の子待たせてるんでしょ？
I glanced down at my watch on my left wrist. It's 10 p.m. already. That's not even that bad. And they eat dinner at 7, so there's no way she's still gonna be waiting at this point.
わかんないよ。あまねちゃんって言ったっけ？
Yeah, I probably would too. I'd be very depressed after the first, like, 45 minutes, but I'd be there. You really don't think she'd be that... I really don't think she'd be that inflexible.
今から帰るって電話ぐらいしておいたら。
What's the point? We'll be at the dorm soon.
わかってないな。そういう男の豆さが女には重要なのよ。
I mean, she's actually got a good point here. Like, if anything, it might give her a window, like if she were sleeping or something, it would give her a window to, you know, actually be like, oh, yeah, I'll be right there. Does getting in contact all 10 minutes early really make that much of a difference? Yes.
されど10分の差なのよ。悪いこと言わないから電話しておきなさい。
Screw girls, it'd make a big difference to me. Like, if you're coming over to my house, even if I'm, like, planning on you being there, and you gave me a call 10 minutes before you're there saying, hey, we're about there, I'd love that. I'd be like, oh, yes, thank you. I don't have to, like, worry about when you're showing up anymore or anything. Getting a lecture about a woman from JB is distinctly aggravating, but I don't think she's wrong. Take my private cell phone out of my work clothes, breast pocket, pause for a moment and thought. No, don't think I will after all.
あら、どうして？
You're assuming that Amane's still waiting, but there's a chance she gave up an hours ago. If I call her now and get, sorry, I was asleep, it would be pretty darn awkward.
待ってると思うけどな。女の子には嫌われないようにしておきなさい。
If there's some reason I need to worry about that, I'll take appropriate measures.
人類の半分は女よ。汝の隣人を愛する前に、汝敵を作るなかれ。ってね。
Oh, that's fair.
女の子には優しくして、有意義な学生生活を楽しんだ方が得じゃない。もしあまねちゃんが怒ってたら、ちゃんと謝るのよ。
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, why? Like, he clearly warned her he'd be out late, most likely. If she's mad over that, that's a little frustrating. Now, if he's constantly late to engagements and activities that like they plan together, then I can understand her getting frustrated. But this is like one time. Can't think of any reason why she'd be angry. I told Amane beforehand that I'd be back late. I don't remember asking her to wait for me. If she's still waiting anyway, logically speaking, that's nobody's fault but her own. But for some reason, I do feel like I should at least come up with some sort of excuse. Am I losing my edge or something? Huh. That's weird. I'm a little concerned now because Yuji's thinking the exact same lines I am, and I'm starting to wonder if there's a flaw to that logic.
お疲れ様。
Appreciate you going out of your way to drop me off.
いいのよ。それじゃあまたあなたにしかできない仕事が入ったら連絡するわ。
Right. Do me a favor, try not to call me out for every little thing, okay?
そう言わないの。予備役ってことでこの学園に通う許可が下りたんだから。
Right, they can't give up an asset like him. I'm aware. Alright, JB, see you later.
あ、ちょっと待って、ユージ。
What now?
今日はお疲れ様。
Oh gosh.
今日のあなた、とっても素敵だったわ。
What is this all of a sudden? Why are you getting out of the car?
あなたにお休みのキスをしようと思って。
Nope. What?
おやすみ、ユージ。
Oh, what? Hey, what the hell? Suddenly, JB twines her arm around me and draws me close, planting a kiss on the side of my face with all the force and speed of a rattlesnake striking its prey. Does she think that someone's watching? Tee-hee-hee yourself? Seriously nauseating.
じゃあね、ユージ。愛してるわ。また連絡するね。
This lady. JB lets out a high-pitched giggle unworthy of her years and swings back into her car, kicking her high heels vigorously up in the air. The next moment, she's speeding noisily off into the night. What the hell was that all about? When JB acts like that, it means she's up to something. Yeah, I think she's anticipating someone's, like, watching for us. I can't imagine what she possibly hoped to accomplish by this time, but it's best to err on the side of caution when dealing with a woman's schemes. Some sort of trap? I mumble to myself uneasily, watching as JV's car dwindles quickly into the distance like a bad boy fleeing the scene of a successful prank, and when I turn back toward the school, the nature of her snare becomes clear at once. Oh, fetch me! Sachi? Sachi stands frozen a little distance away. Her cheeks are flushed red. She's lightly biting down her lower lip, and her whole body seems to be trembling slightly. She's holding a white plastic shopping bag in her hand, probably her way back from an expedition to the convenience store by the station.
私、 見てませんから。
Hey, hold on, Sachi. I'm pretty sure you're misunderstanding something very bad really right now. Let me explain.
私、みちる様に頼まれたアイスクリームを買って帰る途中なので、失礼します。
No, wait. I'm telling you this. Hold on a second, all right? JB and I aren't, well, our relationship isn't...
わかっています。ただれた関係というやつですよね。
No!
私も子供ではないので。
Go fetch me. Go fetch me. Oh, no!
男の人はそういう体だけのドライな関係というか、むしろウェットな関係を求めるということも理解しています。
No, that's not... JB and I aren't... Look, you've got the wrong... She was just screwing around.
はい、わかってます。
Go
女の悪
fetch,
ふざけ
no!
ですね。大丈夫です。あまねさんには黙っておきますから。このことは薄い私の胸にそっとしまっておきますから。
No, it's not feeble. You don't need to keep it a secret necessarily, but you have to understand that what was happening was a prank. She was messing with you. Look, Sachi, can you please just calm down?
疑ってますか？疑ってますね。大丈夫です。こう見えても私、口は硬い方なんです。なんなら今この場で押し倒してキスして確かめてみますか？
Where's that coming from? Say what?
風見さん。
What is happening right now? What?
もしかして私今、とんでもないことを言いましたか？
Yes, you did indeed.
もしかして、
Oh my...
私はこの後、レイプされるのでしょうか？
What? What? Why? By whom? Are you disappointed? Stop pointing at me. Look, just get lost, will you? Michiru's waiting, right?
はい、失礼しました。
For crying out loud. There's no way that was a coincidence. JB must have noticed her. What a malicious prank. The dose was way too strong for a girl with no immunity whatsoever. Gosh darn it, JB. I think I might need to give that woman a serious scolding one of these days.
風見さん。
What? You're still here? You need something?
ハルベラさんはあくまでもセフレで、本命はアマネさんってことでいいんですよね。
What do you even... What... There's two problems with this sentence. Look, I said it's a gosh darn misunderstanding, alright? Get lost already. No, you won't.
ほっぺに口紅ついてます。アマネさんに会う前に拭いてください。それでは。
Yuuji, you're the unbelievable one. You don't just joke about that kind of thing. Unbelievable, every last one of them. Even as I mutter my complaints, I wipe my cheek clean with the cuff of my work uniform. JB's pricey lipstick, visibly distinct from knockoff stuff students buy in convenience stores, is reduced to a fragrant smear on the sleeve of my pea green shirt. It smells distinctly of a grown woman. As I take a whiff, the contrastive scent of gunpowder soaked into my uniform also pricks my nose. Do I smell? Well, whatever. There's nothing I can do about it right now. To be honest, coming back late like this, sort of a slapstick routine, is kind of a bear, especially after hours of tension and strain on the job. My feet feel oddly heavy as I walk toward the dorm. Back when I was in active duty, I didn't think much this much would have worn me out. Guess I've probably gotten a little soft since I entered this school. Walking past the school building, I'm just crossing over the covered pathway leading to the gym when something ahead catches my eye. There's a light on in my window. Amane. She actually waited. There was no guarantee I'd even come back. In the first place, there was absolutely nothing in it for her. Why sit around in an empty room? Does she enjoy wasting her time? When people put a lot of time into something that produces no concrete benefit to them, that activity can often be classified as a hobby. Maybe sitting around patiently is Amane's favorite pastime? Oh, he's so clinical. There's some bizarre hobbies out there, no doubt, and it's hardly my place to tell Amane how to spend her leisure time. Even so, I have to say she's probably better off finding some slightly more rewarding pursuit. Of course, whether I'll ever share that opinion with her is another matter entirely. The instant I open the door to my room, the smell of domestic life floods into my nose. For a moment, I hesitate at the entrance, my hand frozen on the doorknob. The scent of another human being mingles with the lingering smell of some sort of cooking from a greasy, homely meal. When I was a child, and later, when I lived with my master, this scent was ubiquitously natural. But right now, it feels alien to me. My room is strangely unfamiliar.
おかえり。
Hey. Fetch V, she's winning a lot of points right now. That's hard to beat. Be like, oh, exhausted coming home, not expecting anything, and just have her be, hey, how's it going? Got you food? It's like, whew, that's a way to a man's heart right there. Yeah, I'm home. Slightly averting my gaze from Amane's unexpected smile, I glance at my wristwatch. It's already past 10 p.m. My old school, we'd be past lights out by now. Were you waiting for me?
まあね。書き置きだけ残して部屋に戻ろうかとも思ったんだけど、やることもあったし。
What?
アイロンがけ。
I glance around the room. The clothes I left scattered on the floor earlier are gone. In exchange, a cleaned, ironed, and neatly folded school uniform sits next to Amane.
アイロンは糊がバリバリに効いてる方がいいんだよね。
It's military style. Yeah. In my line of work, any uniform you wear is expected to be stiff as a board at all times. Get spotted with a wrinkle or two, and your superiors are going to give you absolute hell as a general rule. As a result, I've got an ingrained habit of spraying enough starch on my shirts that you could practically prop them up like a tent after ironing, but I'm pretty sure I've never discussed any of this with Amane before. Well, I mean, if you've ever ironed, which is the thing, like, I don't know if that's something you can relate with, but I learned how to iron shirts. I learned how to do all that domestic stuff. Like, it's one of the benefits of like right out of high school, leaping off into your own and just learning skills. Like, these are skills that I partially picked up from my own dad, but then I also kind of perfected on my own. And so I think it's important to be able to know how to do stuff like that. She probably just noticed my shirts are always crisp and reached that conclusion on her own. Not that this is anything out of the ordinary for her. She's got a truly impressive eye for this sort of detail.
それと胸のところのボタンが取れかけてたから縫い直しておいた。
Gosh, she's putting the wife points in. She's passed over the uniform with a smile. On inspection, there is indeed one button with slightly different color thread. It's been sewn on particularly firmly. The sight gives me a strange feeling of deja vu. What's this feeling? Right, back in elementary school, I'd been wearing a shirt with a loose button when someone stopped me, then proceeded to sew it back on right where I stood. My one and only sister, Kazama Yuuji. I see.
実は裁縫はあんまり得意じゃなくてさ、ちょっと縫い目がごつくなっちゃったけど、取れちゃうよりはマシでしょ?
It's another good skill to have, is being able to sew on a button. It's very simple, but it's handy to know, and it gives you that little bit of knowledge about how to do sewing and how to work with clothing and fabrics. Yeah, thanks. Now that I think about it, hobbies aren't the only reason people act in unprofitable ways. Family. The word wells up spontaneously somewhere in the depths of my chest. Working for someone else without compensation, without any expectation of gain, simply out of affection, as if that's the most natural thing in the world. That's what family is, or so they tell me.
ねえ、晩ご飯はどこかで食べてきた?
No, I haven't eaten anything.
じゃあ、お腹空いてるよね。すぐに食べる?
Yeah.
待ってて。今温め直すから。
Fetch me, Amane. You're really... I feel like she's working me over right now. Oh no. Smiling casually, Amane heads to the kitchen with light, graceful steps, then places a plate filled with sweet and sour pork and calamari rings in the microwave. Speaking of which, why is there a microwave in my room anyway? I don't remember being here when I left. For that matter, there's an unfamiliar rice cooker sitting on the shelf next to it. What's with the microwave?
ああ、これね。マキナが使ってたレンジなの。あの子、自分の部屋にはめったに戻らないし、もう使わないだろうから。
That rice cooker too?
そういうこと。3合炊きの小さいやつだけど、半合で炊くよりは手間がかからなくていいでしょ?
Yeah, I see. The scent that inspired a moment of unease when I entered the room was probably the trace of fragrant steam produced by the small rice cooker. Even as a kid, I didn't have much in the way of happy family dinners, but after my parents and sister died, I came to view meals as nothing more than regularly scheduled nutrition supply periods. And now, something inside me shirks instinctively away from this sort of warm, domestic meal. There's always this nagging, almost guilty sense that I don't belong in this picture. Of course, when I was living with my master, there was a few meals like this, but that woman was fundamentally crappy in the kitchen and rarely bothered to cook a full-fledged meal. The food she served me was inedible, and it was never what you could call tasty either. JB would occasionally stop by on a whim and whip up something, and the food was definitely an improvement, but it was hard to get too emotional about it knowing I was going to be cleaning up the mess she always left in the kitchen. Hey, Amane? I think I've asked this before, but why do you stick to me so persistently?
だから一目惚れって言ったよね。それプラス私の性格。なんか私って誰かの世話を焼くのが好きみたい。
It's weird that she can say that so casually. Because again, she's been super averse to actual intimacy when it's actually like theoretically presented. But she also is casual about the concept. It's the application that gets her. Do you really expect me to be satisfied with that explanation?
だって他に言いようがないもの。っていうか、どうしてそんなに疑うかな?
Because it's way too convenient a story. Can't help feeling a little skeptical. A beauty with huge breasts falls in love with me at first sight. That unilaterally lavishes attention on me out of sheer affection. It's not quite I'm not quite wet enough behind the ears to swallow that shoddy manga-style setup. There's something else behind this. I don't think this is me being paranoid. It seems like common sense.
逆に聞くけど、ユージは今まで何人の女の子と付き合ってきたわけ?
I've never dated anyone in my life.
だったらさ、ユージが知らないだけで私みたいな女がいたって変じゃないでしょ?
Well, I guess. Can't deny I've got gaps in my knowledge. If she declares this is just how women are these days, I don't have enough points of reference to mount a rebuttal.
自分に理解できないものをありえないと否定するのは簡単だけど、それって自分の無知を棚に上げた発言なんじゃないかな?
It's tough. Honestly, I'd actually probably be persuaded that there's more going on here because he's got some really decent points, but she takes care of Machina. That's clearly something she does out of just like the kindness of her heart. Machina can be downright like frustrating and like she kind of takes advantage of people, but Amane still just wants to help and be there and provide. She has a genuine desire to care. Now, what I doubt is that she's genuinely in love with us because again, like I said, anytime, like, while she could seem casual about like the idea of like sex and romance, anytime like Yuji's even like remotely hinted that he might go for it, she's gone really, really like freaked out and almost frozen. Not that she was going to reject him per se, but like she was really hesitant or scared or nervous. So I don't believe her just saying like, oh yeah, I love you. It's like, she's saying that. I don't know if that's real. Whether she knows it or not, I'm not sure that's real right now. There might be something there, but like there's definitely more going on. But I don't know about the making food, waiting up for people. Like, she just genuinely seems like she wants to be there and care. And she's decided like Machina and Yuuji are her, I don't want to call them her projects, but in a sense, they're her adoptive like family in a way.
すぐに理解しろとは言わないけど、せめて世の中には私みたいな女もいるって事実は認めないと。
You have a point. As the result of ignoring the reality it didn't want to accept, this country's once marched blindly to a crushing defeat, mouthing flowery rhetoric about inevitable victory the whole way. In the same way, dismissing a perspective you can't understand as ridiculous is just as egotistical. It's just an egotistical refusal to admit other ways of looking at the world exist. At the very least, I have to acknowledge that my values aren't universal.
はーい、お待たせ。用意できたよ。
Sorry, having issues over here. Tell me something, Amane.
何?
Do you really love me?
言わなかったっけ? 大好きだよ。
No hesitation whatsoever. And yet, her words still ring hollow in my ears. Is this a problem on my end? I don't know, dude. Maybe. I'm starting to wonder too, but I keep getting that same impression. Like, it feels like she's saying it just to say it. Kind of like how, like, I go up to my friends and go, I love you, bro. It's like, I mean, I do care for them, but it's not like the same level of love you have for like a sibling or a spouse or a parent. Like, it's a friendship love. And I don't know if she means friendship love or something else because it's some casual. Well, fine. Guess there's at least one woman out there deranged enough to fall in love with a man like me. I'll accept that as reality.
何それ? つまり、私がユージを好きだって言葉、信じる気になったってこと?
I'm not going to accuse you of lying, that's all. I still don't understand why you feel the way you do, and there's no change in that fact that I'll find an overly convenient woman vaguely nauseating.
さ、私の一方的な片思いなのは分かってるけど、それでもこうして海外しく接してくる私を少しは不憫だなとか思わないわけ？
If I started lying to you out of compassion and dating you out of pity, would you really be happy?
たとえきっかけが同情だったとしても、同情のまま終わるような女じゃないもの、私。
You gotta give her props for that one. Like, it's very dangerous to get into a relationship with the idea that I can fix him or I can make him love me. Like, that's super dangerous. But, like, there's something a little stirring about that idea. She'd be like, oh, you think I just let it stay the way that is? You're one hell of a tough, proactive woman, you know that?
惚れ直した？
To be honest, I'm envious.
いいからご飯食べちゃいなさい。
Yeah, sounds like a plan. I bring my hands together in front of the food. Amane zapped with a loving care in the microwave, give her my thanks, and move to my chopsticks toward the plate. Sweet and sour pork and fried squid. One hell of a strange combination, thematically speaking, but the taste itself is impeccable as ever. I don't know, surf and turf, it's a thing. Her skills at cooking are superb, and in contrast to her seemingly rough, careless attitude, she's unusually attentive to small details and highly considerate of others' needs. A good woman, any way you look at her. Of course, I think that's the exact reason I can't rid myself of my doubts. Why would she fall in love with me, of all people? It's delicious.
そう、よかった。
Whatever the case may be, I think Amane's smile is probably genuine, and that's why it makes me feel like there's a thorn stabbing into my chest. Do I even deserve to be loved? I understand that I'm overthinking things, but I can't stop. Every time I get on the train of thought, I start wondering what I'm even living for, whether there's any real meaning in my survival. I start thinking, I must be a pretty pathetic excuse for a human being if I can't believe in that smile. When you get down to it, my master was right. I'm still just a punk kid. Just as my mouth begins to loosen into a self-depreciating smile. Oh, he was just about to smile? The sound of a cell phone's message alert resounds inside the room. I instinctively reach my hand to the breast pocket of my work clothes, but the sound didn't come from my phone. Which would mean...
あれ、メールだ。
Amane takes out the cell phone she'd left carelessly in the pocket of her jeans, opens it, and peers down at the LCD screen. Oh, why do I suddenly have a bad feeling about this? Sachi, did you say something to Michiru? And then did Michiru promptly share whatever she saw?
さっちゃんからだ。
Oh, no.
なに？
Here we go. Here comes the nuke, JB. It seems the message was sent from Komine Sachi's email address. At the name, the chopsticks abruptly stopped dead in midair. For some reason, I have a bad feeling about this. Apparently, she finished with Sachi's message. Amane quietly brushes up her long hair with her free hand.
ねえ、ユージ。
Oh no.
これ、何？
Oh no. Amane holds out her cell phone for my inspection. It's a picture. Naturally, Sachi's email is displayed on the screen. From Sachi, Susumo, Amane. Subject, I can't say a thing. Message, and I didn't see a thing. The contents of the email are a single shorter line. The problem lies in the image attached to it. No! Betrayal! It's a camera photograph snapshot taken only a little while ago. Quite a skillful piece of work, really. In front of the school gate. JB pressing her lips to my cheek, both arms twined around me. Well, that was, Involuntarily, I swallow the food in my mouth, along with a lump of spit that goes down my throat like a rock. Okay, Sachi. What happened to not saying anything to Amane? I mean, I guess she didn't technically put it in words, but... Well, this is Sachi we're talking about. I doubt she did this for a malicious pleasure of it. The burden of keeping the secret was just too heavy for her to bear. In agony, with guilt over Amane's ignorance, she probably took advantage of this dubious loophole out of sheer desperation. It was just a stupid prank of JB's.
いたずら？
Oh no. Well, let's see. It's kind of a long story, but that's pretty much just how she is. Mind going into that long story of yours? What exactly were you doing at JB in the front gate? That's the logical next question for Amane to ask, but... JB is naturally a wicked woman, prone to harassing me in this way at unexpected moments, just as she can smirk at my agitation. Would be my explanation, I guess, but it hardly seems enough to satisfy Amane. Unfortunately, it also happens to be the truth. So there's not much I can do about it.
アルバイトに行ってたんじゃなかったの？
Yeah, I was. Oh wait, that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that this is my job, is it? Oh, now she thinks we're an escort. Oh. Saying that, and that alone, Amane closes the cell phone in her hand with a snap, not betraying any particular interest. And I sort of expected you to ask me about the job at this point.
どこで何をしていたの?
I told you I work for a cleaning company, right? Today we were cleaning a 20-story building in Tokyo, but, well, this big rat appeared when we were still getting set up, and everyone ended up chasing it around. Thing was, though, the rat was unexpectedly nimble. We ended up losing sight of it entirely. If we just let the thing get away, it'd eventually pop out of its hole again and cause more havoc, and our client was telling us I can't sleep at night when that rat's on the loose, and all that. So we ended up splitting up to track the thing down, but for a rat, it was pretty sly. Took a good 3 hours before we found it again and finally exterminated the thing. Is he working for the Yakuza or something? That sounds like something like, I can't sleep at night knowing that guy could snitch on us, so we're gonna go take him out. So we, assassinate him? I'm intentionally replacing certain nouns with metaphorical analogies, but the information I'm giving Amane is otherwise roughly accurate. I really did spend hours running through the intricate web of sewers under Tokyo in hot pursuit of a rat. Incidentally, a gas mask does absolutely nothing to improve the smell of raw sewage.
へえ、大変だったんだね。
Why does she just accept it? Yeah, guess it was, but that's all you have to say? After promising I'd have a meal with her, I ran off to work all of a sudden and stayed late without even giving her a call, not that I possibly could have, leaving her to wait in vain for hours. And to top it off, her reward for this patience is a picture of me flirting around with my boss. But she's not planning to say a word of a complaint? I mean, I'm putting up a bit of a defensive front and all, but even I recognize that she's kind of got shafted this one. As she grumbled a little bit, I was pretty much ready to give her a proper apology. But this indifferent response is well outside the range of my expectations. To be honest, it's inspiring some serious unease on my part. Yeah, you know what? Me too. That's really weird. Generally, aren't women more, jealous creatures? I wouldn't even say it's like women. Guys would also be jealous and concerned. I'm not exactly an expert, but I've known a few females in my time, and I understand them. Women tend to be more selfish about things like this, to the point of irrationality even. You don't have any questions about any of that?
だって仕事の話に口挟まれるの嫌でしょ? それとも何か疑ってほしいの?
I'm a little scared that you aren't. That's not it, but...
まあそりゃね、私よりも仕事を優先したってのは面白くないよ。でもそうする必要があったからあんたはそうしたんでしょ?
What? Yes?
だったら何も間違っていないじゃない。
Yeah, well, I guess not, but Amane's weirdly understanding about this. She's being so reasonable, it's somehow making me feel increasingly guilty about the whole thing. It's kind of a complicated feeling. All of a sudden, some kind of switch seems to have been flipped inside Amane. Her eyes narrow to slits and her lips jerk in the very picture of a smirk.
そうか、もしかしてユージ、私に焼き餅を焼いて欲しかったのかな?
Uh-huh. No, that's really not...
そうよね。ユージはツンデレだもんね。それじゃあ、焼き餅焼いちゃおうかな。
What is happening? Spare me.
キスしてくれたら許すかもよ。
Oh, is this the choice? This woman. Exactly how serious is she about this? No, I think the real question is how badly is she underestimating men? Alright, Amane, close your eyes.
やーん、強引。でもそういうの好き。
See, I think she's still in La La Land here. I'm not sure she's actually bracing for an actual thing. Clearly confident this is nothing more than a bluff, Amane closes her eyes, jerks her chin up, and fearlessly sticks out her lips. This girl's looking down on me. Maybe I should teach her a lesson. Steal a kiss with overbearing force? Idiotic, can't let herself get caught up in her nonsense. Oh, gosh. Oh, that's exactly what I was afraid of. I'm not sure which is which. More importantly, I don't know what I want to do here. I was really confident I knew what I wanted to do with Machina, and I just was nervous about making the wrong choice as far as picking the path. Here, if I pick her path, I'm picking her path. If I don't pick her path, I'm not. I don't really mind either way in that regard. But I don't know what I want to do. Gosh darn it. most likely, I just dismiss it all as being strange, ridiculous, and I do think that there's some of it's kind of disconcerting, right? It feels like no one could be this genuine about this type of stuff, especially after the picture that was like said. Like, that's ridiculous that she's just like, whatever. But part of me just kind of just wants to be like, well, fine, I'm just gonna go for it. How much you want to bet if I were to click that? I think if I click the top one, it's going to be her path. And how much you want to bet she's going to have some kind of freak out or some crazy reaction that's going to be completely like opposed to what you expect. Like something way over the top, like she's going to have some kind of flashback or something. And you'll be like, what the heck just happened? And that's going to be the start of the path with her. I gotta think. What do I want to do? I don't want her to win. I kind of like, I feel like I'm being called out. Like I have to do it now because it's like, I don't want her to like, she clearly does think that we're not actually going to do it. So part of me just wants to do it just out of sheer like, just screw you. But at the same time, it's like, kisses kind of mean stuff. And it's like any relationship thing. It's like, you don't want that to be misinterpreted. You don't want to do something like that unless you intend to follow up with it, you know? Ah, that's rough. I don't know. Okay. I really don't know which one. I have no idea which one's which. You know what? I'm gonna go with my gut. It is me, not Yuuji, not the story. I'm reading these lines and I'm going with it. And whilst this seems like a fun approach, it's that word right here that you can't see the cursor, but overbearing force, those words. I don't like that. If you're gonna do like a kiss to kind of prove yourself, I understand it might be like postulating and kind of going over the top for the sake of like drama, but I don't like the idea of a overbearing forced kiss at all. Like, it seems wrong. It seems like too aggressive. It feels like, I don't know, it's crossing a line I wouldn't want to cross. I think there's one thing about like being direct, but overbearing force feels too much. I don't know, man. It's just me. It's hard for me not to just be... I take things too seriously. It's part of why I make this channel, why I make good content like this. I think it's why it's fun for watch, because I'm watching pictures on a screen in a game that's all mostly text and audio logs and voice lines, but I still feel so immersed in it because I get caught up in it and I can't do it. Oh, but Amane, okay, I'm gonna guess that when I make this choice, it's not gonna take us on her route. But I have to tell you, if/when we do a second route, Amane might have just taken it for me. Because this was very sweet and very interesting, and I'm very curious to learn more. And maybe I'm gonna go on the route. Maybe this isn't gonna be the route, but I'm gonna go ahead and follow my heart. Listening, not just trying to be meta about my thoughts, but genuinely thinking like, as much as I like Yuuji, and as much as I enjoy Amane, if I were sitting in Yuuji's shoes, trying to imagine myself as him, I still think I'd let her just call the bluff. This is completely idiotic. If I get caught up in Amane's nonsense, I'll let her coax me into kissing her. It's all too obvious that the reparations she'll exact in the aftermath will leave me in a staggering debt. If Amane waits patiently, her eyes closed and lips puckered like an actress in a lipstick commercial, I'll reach out and give her a full force lick to the forehead. A flick to the forehead. Moron. Do you really think I, of all people, would fall for such a blatant trap?
なによ、一瞬迷ったくせに。参ったな、マジかよとか思いつつ、ちょっとくらいいいか、キスしちゃおっかなとか思ったくせに。
Guilty as charged. You're the one who said you'd be satisfied playing my big sister, you know? Sisters don't plaster their little brothers for kisses on the mouth.
じゃあ、いないって言い切れるの?
If they do, that's a whole different issue. Well, yeah, I guess there's probably a few out there, but that's a seriously rare case.
ねえ、ユージ、お姉ちゃんとキスしよっか。してみたいでしょ? もうしちゃいなさいよ。
Okay, now you've really taken the mood out. Don't start playing some inherent character from an incest-themed porno. You're just trying to push this through by force.
なんだよもう。ユージの育児なし。
Ugh. In my line of work, what you scared is a phrase you don't want to hear under any circumstances. No matter what unreasonable, reckless action you're being encouraged to take, the instant that question gets voiced, you have to spit out "hell no" and instantly leap into action. If you back down in the face of a taunt like that, your reputation among the group will plummet irreparably. But we can't forget about the wonderful concept of tactical withdrawal. A dignified retreat when the situation calls for it is no act of cowardice. This is just such a case. Anyway, it's late. Head back to your own room already.
何よ、都合が悪くなると追い返そうっての？だから男ってやつは。
I genuinely feel bad. I'm grateful to you for the meal, for sewing, and everything else. To the extent that I can't really express it in words. But this isn't the same as a romantic relationship. You're an adult woman. I think you can grasp the distinction yourself, right?
少し焦りすぎたか。うかつだったわ。もう少し外堀を埋めてから本丸に攻め込むべきだったわね。
That would be counterproductive in a siege, but I get what you're saying. What?
まあいいわ。今日のところは帰るよ。食べ終わったお皿は流しの桶の中に入れておいて。明日まとめて洗うから。
Have I made a horrible mistake? Oh no. Why do I feel so bad? I can take care of my own dishes.
何よ。私の仕事を奪う気？私はユージの仕事に何も文句を言わないんだから、あんたも私の仕事に文句言わないの。
I feel bad.
いい？
I feel like she's gonna cry herself to sleep tonight. I hate it. What a tyrant.
まったく、こんな都合のいい女なんて他にはいないんだからね。感謝しろとは言わないけど、あんまり雑に扱わないのよ。いい？
Yeah, got it.
わかればよろしい。じゃあ私行くね。おやすみ、ユージ。
I can't help it. I'm such a fate stat. I hear the umu and I immediately think of freaking Nero. Yeah, night. The girl seems to feel some pathological need to force her way into my life. By the way, Amane suddenly showed up and starts doing housework without being asked. I only get to hopping mad over something, preach at me for a while, and then vanish as quickly as she came. It inspires a definite sense of deja vu. Specifically, her fierce pushiness and burning desire to take care of others reminds me strongly of JB. If I'm comparing her to JB, who's been something like family since I was a kid, I clearly don't dislike Amane. Honestly, I enjoy her company. It's also undeniable that I have a hard time seeing her as a love interest. Okay, so I guess I did reject her route here. How can I put this? Well, like I said, she feels more like family. Something like my older sister was to me when she was still alive. Something like my master. Something like JB. Amane's been become someone I care about in that way. And that's exactly why I can't thoughtlessly take advantage of her. I don't want to end up making her cry. Dude, I think you do already, but I get it. Like, maybe the short-term cry over the long-term, like, devastation that could happen if you lead her on. Those are my honest feelings right now. Well, whatever it is we've done. I'm a little scared. That thing terrifies me. But we'll get to it when we get to it. I think we're gonna go ahead and end here. I'm not sure if we're... Oh, wait. Is this gonna be Sachi and Amane? Maybe I should continue a little bit. Let's just see. I'm gonna continue a little bit more just to see. As I return to the first floor after my bath, I spot Sachi walking toward the front door. She's in full maid uniform, but her hands are empty. Somehow this feels vaguely unsatisfactory. Probably proof that I've gotten accustomed to the way things work around here. Okay, so we are still Yuuji. Okay, we're gonna stop here then. I thought it might be Sachi having an encounter with Amane, but it sounds like it's moved on to the next scene officially. So we're gonna end here for real. Here we go. Thank you so much for being. I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. Ooh, Amane really put a good show on there. That was I was torn. I was really like, it was almost a coin flip, honestly. Like, it kind of, like, the whims of my heart were pretty much just going at the slightest, like, push. I think if the translators had used different words there, I probably would have gone for it. It's just that idea of overwhelming force kind of colored in my head a picture I didn't like, and that's all it took because I was so on the fence there. So I will say that was really close one, but we're moving forward. We'll see what happens. thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode, and my rambling is definitely a longer one, but I think it's because I rambled so much and it just didn't feel right to end it before. I knew that choice was coming pretty soon, so I just kind of kept going. So I'm sure you're fine with it, but all the same, it's still good to be aware of it. Anyway, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful journey through the Fruit of Grisaia. I'm excited to see how this all plays out. I'm looking forward to next week's episode to see what craziness we'll get into next. Thank you for being here, for being a part of the journey, especially patrons and members, but all of you are shining stars in a sea full of just wonderful people. And all of you, regardless of why you're here, how long you're here, the fact that you're here means the world to me. So thank you so much for that. And until the next video, watching me, I've seen me next. I'll see you there.